Right, you lot, and it is time for a classic video. This is one of my favourite ones to do. I look forward all year to this. It's the VA Lecture Tier List 2022-2023. This is the third one I've done. I'm going to be honest with you, they weren't as good this year. We were actually better behaved, which tends to be a trend. But, I started this 3 years ago. I don't think we could have got worse in year 8, so every year since then has been disappointing. But every year, we get telling offs, and I rate them based off how good they were. Some of them, especially certain ones we'll get to later, were very justified. Other ones, I just cannot fathom how they wasted time to actually make that a lecture, and that's the fun of it. We've had classics every year, whether it's year 8, Hey Lewis, bloody he's not your mate down the pub, bloody really Charlie, and then last year we had classics like Pretending to Be Sad, classics. So many bloody classics. What else did we have last year? I've gone blank. Oh, You Should Have Stopped Him. Classic lecture from last year. Yeah. But this year, we did have some classics as well. I've actually got them in order this time. And the problem is, though, I documented these throughout the year. So that means I did forget some of them when I look back. And it actually took a minute with a few of them to actually remember, what was this again? Some of them are obvious, more obvious. But I have put brackets on some of them to give me some context. So, yeah. I've actually got my order as well. Let me go over the tiers. I'm using the same tiers I've always used. So the first tier is called top tier. These are the ones that, yeah, I 100% agree with it. We were 100% in the wrong. Had a point. It's like, yeah, they had a point. Like, I get it. Like, it's not the worst thing. I don't think we're 100% wrong here, but I get it. It happened is just the ones where it's like, all right, it's over with. I don't really feel strongly either way about it. No point are the ones where I'm just like, really? Was there really a point there? Like, what was really the point? And then we have terrible, which are the ones that are just like, it's just dreadful. Like, what is the point? And then we have the E tier, which once upon a time had meaning, now it's just kind of just an E. But I've got to bring it back for tradition. So yeah, the first lecture, pulling Harvey Thomas's pants down. Oh, I'm gonna read the titles for some of these. I want you to try and guess what it could be. I'm gonna give context for all of them. Putting Harvey's pants down. Second day of the school year. So we survived one day before a lecture, and me and Harvey are messed about in the forest. I try and pull him, and I accidentally pull his like pants a bit. Miss Humphrey tells me off. Fair enough. You had a point, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like I didn't mean to do it. Obviously, like, there wasn't malicious intent there, but like, yeah, you had a point. But like, really, right now the second one is the paperwork lecture, and this was one done by the leader. You know, it's a trend that the leader does a lot of these. He's kind of the king of it, which is a shame because he's actually leaving. So I don't know how good next year is going to be. Now, paperwork, we were all stacked on top of each other, right in the forest, having a bit of a laugh. And then he tells us off for there. But instead of worrying about the safety of the children, no, it's the paperwork he's going to have to sign. Says a lot about the character. And I would say it had a point because he technically did, but considering he cared more about paperwork, it's gonna have to be no point because you messed up your thing, mate. For a guy who's delivered such classic lectures like Pretending to Be Sad and Packington Ainsley. Like you I expected better from you. Right, the third one is Daddy. You don't want to know about this. So Harvey made Leon like call him Daddy, and Mr. Richards told Harvey, "Oh, yeah, Harvey, you are 100% in the wrong here. I'm sorry." Like it was funny, it was a good moment, but they obviously had a point. Right now, the next one is music lessons. Now, in term one, for some bizarre and absurd reason, the school looked at the timetable and thought, oh, three music lessons and two math lessons. That sounds right. That sounds about a good idea. So what they did was they gave us three music lessons and two maths, and we were like, what the hell? And we had, I think, double music on a Friday and Wednesday math lessons of music, and we were like, what the hell is going on here? And Mr. G, he had all the presents of Barney the dinosaur, and we just would continue to wind him up. We just did not take it seriously. I mean, we were terrible, but he was terrible at delivering the lectures because there is criteria I do on these. I've said it in the past, but it's not just about what the context is, it's actually about how you deliver it because delivery is very important. For example, the famous one I will go back to is Mr. Cook and his play fighting. Good eye concept, his delivery was terrible, so it will always be bad. So it's not just about what the lecture was; it's how you deliver it. Because You want to make an outstanding impact. You want us to learn from our mistakes, and we did not learn from anything we did to Glue. So he's got to be there. Right, next we've got not a chair. Ainsley made a chair position in the assembly hall. Ian said it's not a chair. It's just an unnecessary comment. There's no point in it. It's so you didn't need to say a word. It's funny, fair enough, but what is the point? Right, then we got mess in the lunchroom. The A1 staff really didn't like us leaving too much mess. Which, you know what? They did have a point. They did have a point. You know what I mean? I got it's an hassle, but yeah. Then we got talking in assembly, and now they used to do assemblies without a microphone, which is honestly, who sanctioned that idea? So she could not let people hear her, so she hated when people would talk, and I got it, but it just happened. It's I don't think we weren't trying to be loud. We were just whispering. She didn't like that. She was kind of wrong, but we were kind of wrong. So I'm just gonna put it there. The next one though. Oh my god. We got Liv picking up, bruh. Now there's a storyline here, because there's more to this than just the actual event, right? The actual story is Liv picks bruh 1 centimetre off the ground, and Ian has to go in for it. But 2 minutes before this event took place, famous student Liston literally beat me down to the ground in front of his eye line. He had his eyes on me, he was watching me, he watched it every second as he gruesomely wrestled me to the ground, took my shoes, and I was on from the floor. Does nothing. Liv picks for a 1 centimetre off the ground. Lecture. The double standards, the audacity, it's going in E tier. Could you have handled it worse? The double standards, favouritism, and just fear. I'd expect that from a lower level, teacher might be scared of, and from the leader, that is embarrassing, right? Madeline McCann, Bro made a Madeline McCann joke in a Miss Morgan lesson. She told him off for it. Yeah, he had a point that you can't really make a Madeline McCann joke and get away with it, sensitive thing. But come on. Right, next we've got Connor's scratch account. Now, we used to mock Connor a bit for his deviant art and his scratch account because it wasn't very good. He didn't find the humour in these jokes and complained to a teacher, snitched, and bro got told off. It happened at the end of the day. It was so unnecessary. It was a bit of a petty overreaction. People say that they don't like my bloody music or my videos or whatever. I'm not going to go up to a teacher and say that they would be mean about my I don't care. You shouldn't care that much about it. It's stupid. Right, we've got It's a Kitchen, Not a Playground. Would have misheads many entries on here. Just you wait, she's got loads. It happened, I guess. Right, piggyback ride. Ainsley and Bron thing. I don't remember who was involved. I just know Ainsley, Harvey, and Bro were definitely there. They were stacking with each other. Miss Humphrey told them off. Just demonstrating that she's got all the fun of Scrooge. Honestly, just miserable. I get it, it's dangerous, but there's no point there. You didn't need to do that. Next, we got back to Random Woman. Now, if you don't know this one, for some reason, with a fire extinguisher, decided to mess about with it. Glue was not having none of it. He just continued. Glue warned him about 3 times, and then he brought in this random woman. He went to get Steve Ogden. Steve Ogden was busy, so he brought in this woman. Now, we've never met this woman, right? She's apparently some head of summer. We still haven't seen her since. That's the funniest thing about her, right? She showed up out of nowhere, told us off, and she was frightening, honestly. If she delivered every lecture on this list, I'm going to have to put her in top tier because she scared the living daylight out of me. So she top tier lecture giver, and fair enough, he shouldn't have done it, but this is the fact we never saw her again. That was my only encounter with this woman. I'm actually terrified of her. Alright, then we've got the dancing. We moved our hands from side to side and Glue told us off. Right, moving on. We've got double cancer. Now, when Reese was gone for a considerable amount of time due to tragic events in his life, I had to deal with the not as good members, the backups, if you will. And one of them was Ainsley. I said to Ainsley, you're sat Reese with cancer. And I looked at Sam and I said, "You're like Reese with double cancer." The phrase became a big deal. Mr. Richard told me off for like talking about cancer because it's a serious thing. Yeah, he had a point. Like it was a funny quote though. Double cancer, classic. Right, then we got Anne Frank. Bro tried to hide from Ian and failed. He had a point, but like I'm gonna have to put it in. It happened because like imagine finding Bro like he's like a twig. Like how did he find him? I don't get that. Next we've got Hugging. Now our school is a school that is supposed to be inclusive. It's supposed to be celebrating people. It's supposed to be a calm place for people to you know be treated well, to have time out, to have their space. Because mainstream is very chaotic for some kids. But one of the rules they brought in that lasted all of 24 hours, honestly, Mr. Mosey even lasted longer than that. That's saying something. They they banned hugging. I don't know why. It was terrible. It only lasted about 24 hours. Like it, honestly, the report cards lasted longer. Right next, oh my god, we've got Luke and Ainsley's stupidity. You don't know this? Oh, do I have to? We all know the tale. I'm telling the tale. So Luke and Ainsley they're like the bad guys of Home Alone. They're like they're like Team Rocket. They're like some evil duo who like do problematic things all the time. They're like Coca Mentos together, and the problem is though they're not very intelligent. Like their schemes are shit because they've and this just proved their stupidity. And I'm not even talking about what they did. There's more to this. So what they decided to do was watch some very problematic hentai in school. They weren't cool. They got away with it. Where they failed was when they went outside and started telling every man, Tom, Dick, and Harry about it, including a person who was famously known as a snitch who, earlier on in this lecture video, snitched about Madeleine McCann. No, the scratch accounts. Like, honestly, absolute clowns. It is going in top tier because they are the clowns of the year. Not only was it the way, and it was so funny how it delayed. They knew the inevitable was coming, and they were such clowns. Biggest clowns going, honestly. Absolute embarrassment. We got Circus. Ian threatened to send us to the circus. I mean, he predicted the future. We later became clowns in the year, but it happened, I guess. And then we got Racist. Now, one of the great things this school did this year, and I will give them a bit of credit, they let us watch the first World Cup game of England in the hall. And we enjoyed it. It was brilliant. And we got very into it. It was fantastic. What a moment. One of the moments of the school year. But one moment we all decided to shout racist. Mr. Tier told us off for it. Yeah, he had a point. I guess it just happened though, because it's not really that substantial. Oh, next is another Ainsley and Luke duo catastrophe. They tend to come hand in hand. They're like yin and yang. We got the football net. So Tom Hillman earlier on in the break time tells us that there's a camera. So just be careful, don't do anything silly. And if you do sum up, we've got it on camera. So they've told us that, right? What the Luke and Ainsley do? They break the football net when they've been told there's a camera. One thing to break it, but two, and they did not take any accountability. When they were taken outside, they just looked at the floor, fucking waking up crying, whatever shit. Top tier, you two are clowns. Right, human trafficking is the next one. Not giving any content. No, we tried to pull Ainsley across like the school because they did something with a tile and Kev told us off. Had a point, I guess. Like it's just a funny title. That's why I included it. Next, we've got the Liston video scandal. Oh, this is a classic. So I have a series on my main channel that I used to do. I don't do now mainly because of this. How to be. Well, I would take students in our school and basically make a video mocking them, how to be them. And I did most of the friend group. I did Bruh, did Bruce, Harvey, Sam. I didn't do Luke because Bruh did one on Luke. I was gonna do Ainsley, but he told me not to. I swear I did Lakili as well. I think. Then I took it one step too far. I did Liston. He got shown the video. He failed to see the humour in the video and beat me up. I was a clown. I'm gonna put it in top tier. I don't know what I was thinking, but he got over it eventually at least. Oh, the next one is if you want to play music, go outside. Oh my god. So Mr. G is a music teacher, right? That is his title. Glue's title is a music teacher. Let's just make that like clear. So me and bruh, this is one of those days where like no one was in because attendance is just so shit in our school. If you're not called me or you're not called Akili, you're just not there, are you? Like I guess Ainsley's alright as well, and Duke sometimes. Reese actually got better as the year went on. But Harvey, bruh, embarrassment. But bro was actually in on this day, so I don't know why I'm on about this. But basically, right, we were outside the music room mecking about, and he said the line, "If you want to play music outside, what is your job? You are the music teacher, you actual clown. If you want to play music, go outside. What planet are you on? He's on planet Bong. Like honestly, get the red nose." Right, then we got the pod. Miss Draper kicked us out. She had a point. Biggest overreaction since Philip Screwdriver, but I don't know. Then we got the conference. Oh, here it goes, right in top tier. Oh, the conference. Now, for some reason during term three, they decided to do this conference thing where we would be put in this room. We'd be put in this room, right, called and we had to like do this careers thing. Except the careers thing was aimed at like 18-year-olds. We were 14 and 15 at this point, so I didn't really get what that was about. But and somewhat the ant, it was so dry. The woman couldn't have been more boring. She went on about her life half the time. She fell out of bed one of the days and went on about that for half an hour. She had a dog or something. It was a dross to get through. There was like 9 of them as well, and the antics that we did were appalling. Luke and Ainsley were playing on their Switch for half of one of them. No one clocked. I don't know whether they're the clowns there or the teachers are the clowns there. Bruh did a Nazi salute. That was a clown moment. I mean, there was about 10 lecturers in there, so I just grouped as a category. But yeah. Well, then we got the gay lecture. Then I got called gay and lost it. I'm gonna be honest, if you're getting annoyed by like if you're using gay as an insult in 2023, you're a clown. And if you're getting like so worked up about being called gay in 2023, you're also a clown. So I'm just gonna have to put it in. Had a point. Right, then we got music club off. So one of our favourite things to do on a Wednesday was the music club raids. We'd go in there, set off all the keyboards, leave. Glue would always, and every single week he would threaten to do something, but he never did. And it just got worse and worse, and the antics got worse. But I'm gonna have to put it in terrible because he never did anything. He never stopped our antics. Right, then we got the Luke and Ainsley comedy show. Um, Sam's just really happy about this live video. I can't be bothered with that. I'm gonna do the Sam live video next week. Then we got the Luke and Ainsley comedy show, and I've lost the train of thought. Right, Ian said this is not the Luke and Ainsley comedy show. I think it is, mate. It happened here. No, no point because it's just so unnecessary after stuff he does. Then we have to get the work done. Ian told us off for not getting the work done, but the way he delivered this lecture was appalling. So I'm gonna have to put it terrible because he said we have to get the work done. Might as well have got Stephen Hawking to say it, how robotic he sounded, demonstrated all the personality of the conference woman. Like honestly, embarrassing. Right, then we got Misheads and Sanity. This is kind of just like a group category again. I have grouped a few lectures because some things were repetitive occurrences and everything's lesson was a disaster class. Some were better than others, obviously, but she seems like she wants us to fail. She's too quick to jump in. Her format is poor because she like shows us everything instead of step by step, and we forget the first thing by the time she shows us the whole routine. She doesn't have control. She's not qualified. Terrible. Then we got throwing snow. When it snowed, Ainsley threw snow at people. Miss Humphries told him off. I get it. They had a point, but like, come on. She just has no fun on the planet, does she? Then we got 19 lectures in a day, where 18 of them were in a future. If you already give out 17 lectures, right, and in one day, you're a clown. I'm gonna have to put an E because you've given out 17 lectures in a lesson. You failed as a teacher. Right, then we got Kendrick Lamar, when the leader made one of the most interesting and unique references he's ever made. When he said, this is no Kendrick Lamar concert. And it happened, but I just had to include it because it's so funny that a man, you just don't expect him to make a Kendrick Lamar reference. You don't expect that. Like, it's just a fish out of water kind of thing. So, you know. Then we got Blue Waffle. Luke said something about Blue Waffle in his head. It was pretty much I wasn't born yesterday. He was a bit of a clown. She had a point with what she was saying for once. So, yeah. Then we have We Love You, Sam. Oh my god, we sang the We Love You, Sam, and we do. Relita didn't like it. Of course he bloody didn't. Terrible. Right, then we got the phones in the box. Sam wouldn't put his phone in the box one day or something, and then the leader came to shout him. It happened. It's not the most memorable, is it? And the next one, the glasses, we got Bidmus, bro. So Connor couldn't do a maths question that was Bidmus, and Harvey shouted Bidmus, bro. Like, they had a point, but Harvey took one for the team there. You've got to rate him. You've got to rate what he did there. Like, he proper took one for the team. Fair play, Harvey. Then we got Zion booting the fat kid. Zion beat a kid up. He went to hospital. Why is it a lecture again? They probably told him off. I mean, I was at Merchants at the time. I didn't witness. I didn't include Merchants lectures, by the way, on this. I mean, I could have very easily, but there'd be too many. With the antics of Ryan and Cody and Mason, and I'm sticking to Ventures Academy with this. So Zion booting the fat kid. I'm just gonna put an E because of how poorly handled it was. Then we've got Leave It Alone. Yes, Leave It Alone. I've got all separate. I've got Enough, Leave It Alone, and Left Leave It Alone. Comical moment, but Your Broken Record. So we got Leave It Alone, Enough, and Yes, Leave It Alone. Then we got the tin foil. Oh my god, this was a disaster class. Luke climbed a tree. Ian told him off, and then he said that bro had something to do with it, and Ian told bro and went on about tin foil. If you're that easily convinced, that's going to knee. I don't care. He was so easily convinced. Like, you could have said anything. You could have said Junior Headley told me to do it, and he probably would have believed it. Like, that is pathetic from You're Not Caterpillars. Luke, Harvey, Sam, and Reese did push-ups in assembly, and what's it? He said you're not caterpillars. It happened. It's funny. Move on. We've got Watch Your Language, the Diamond Class staff. They were clowns. I mean, have they ever met Sam? He swears about 30 times a minute. The whole way they dealt with that situation, we already know why Diamond Class staff were such clowns in that moment, and I'm gonna have to put them in no point because they made such a fuss over nothing, and they like the way they reacted was absurd. Like I didn't get why they had to be so angry about it. Like I get it, there's little kids you've got next door, but the way they reacted, like they didn't treat us as equals. I felt like 9 years old again. I know they used to working with younger kids. That's probably why, but like clueless. Bullying Dylan. Dylan got called annoying and lost the plot. Biggest overreaction in history. Man said petty, honestly. Then they told Edwin off for bullying him. Honestly, I think he should have been told off for his overreaction, for his drama queen, fucking theatrical acting. Get him a role in Hollyoaks as he's an actor. Get him on This Morning. He's an actor. Terrible. I would put it in D, but like that's a reserved category. Right, only a few more to go now. We've got The Bell Doesn't Dismiss You. Mr. Sedera joined our class at some point. I don't know why. Now, we like Sedera. He's a cool dude, but he's very particular with time. you've got to be on the minute, and he loses it if you're slightly early, which is like honestly making that like time guy from like that second Alice in Wonderland film because he's obsessed. Like he had a point, but I almost just want to put it in. It happened out of spite. Then we got Andrew too. Mr. Richard told us off to talk about Andrew Tate. Fair enough. Like had a point here. Oh my god. The penultimate lecture of the year is the Miss Phillips scandal, which I've labelled making a teacher wake up crying, which I thought was a good title for that. Where do I even begin? So there's many parts to this lecture. There's like 3 parts of it. It's going in top tier. I'm just spoiling that. But we were in the lunchroom, and Luke, Ainsley, and Reese were watching anime on a phone. This woman, Miss Phillips, she doesn't hear a thing, doesn't see it. I don't know how. Honestly, Helen Keller could have done more in that situation, and we found it funny that we got away with it for about 10 minutes, and then Luke crossed the line, like telling the woman she's not good at her job and like insulting her, and the woman apparently went home crying, which was quite insane. And then we got proper told off. Ainsley was part of it as well, but Ainsley left after the antics, and I think everyone in that story is a clown. But I'm gonna be honest, right? Yes, what we did was bad, and we deserve to be top tier for what we did. But I've got to look at this woman, right? I've got to look at her because you've taken a gig at an autistic school, right? You've taken a gig where you're like, autistic people are known for saying what they think. They don't tend to think what they speak. They're dry. They're to the point. They don't get sarcasm. That's stereotypes of autism, right? So you should expect to be ridiculed or insulted or people to say how they actually think. And I think she should be more prepared when going into that job. So I think she was a clown. But what he said was insane and really bad taste and should never have done it. And me, Bro, and Ruth did not do enough to stop him. We should have stopped him. And as for Ainsley, I mean, he quoted Deji when we got told off, so he was a clown as well. I think the only person that story that got out all right was probably Miss Morgan because she was justified in what she did. So yeah, it's going in top tier. But I do think that woman is a clown, and I think that like I would move it down to a higher point just because of her. And then the final one is staring at Bundalicious. We literally looked in the direction of Bundalicious and we got told off for it. And then he kept following us, and we were told off E tier, E tier. Right. The last one's just a repeat of Miss Head Sanity. I accidentally put it on there twice in case you're wondering. So yeah, that was the BA lecture tier list 2022-23. And you know what? I did enjoy that. I thought that was one of the better ones. And year 11, the last one. So I don't think I can do it at college because we're going to be at different colleges. So yeah, I'm worried about next year because the leader's not there. Glue's not going to be there. And they gave most of them, but don't worry, Miss Head is still deliver. I'm sure Mr. Lunham might scoop out a few lectures. Miss Morgan could always deliver one. So I don't know what next year will be. But yeah, my top tier and worst lecture, I'll give out a top 3. So I think the best one had to be Luke and Ainsley's stupidity. Then the conference, then that one woman. Then the 3 worst ones has to be Liv picking up bro. The tinfoil shit and looking at Bundalicious. I would put Diamond Class staff in there, but they weren't quite E tier. So yeah, that was the video lecture tier. If you disagree, please tell me why, because I think this is quite a fair ranking. Next week, I'm going to be doing the Sam Lies tier list. I'm going to be rating them not based on how good of a lie they were, but on believability. There's about 100, so it's going to actually be one of my longest videos ever. I'm also going to sprinkle in between these tier list videos, the longer breakdown videos. I did another tier list as well, which I'll post soon, so yeah.